Hong Kong faces a projected 137,000 bed student housing shortfall by 2028 to 2029 as enrollment rises and property conversions accelerate rapidly citywide. To break down what this means, Shaman Chalaram of Colliers joins us on the program. Hi Shaman, so can supply realistically catch up to enrollment growth?
Hi, thanks for having me here. Yes, look, we've got a huge amount of supply coming onto the market at the moment. The reality is it will still take time for that supply to catch up with the enrollment numbers. But as we're seeing, alone this year, we've already had 2,000 hotel rooms acquired, which will bring around 3,000 to 4,000 beds into the market. But it will take time for that supply to then get absorbed in the market and then for the demand then to come back for the next wave.
I see. So Shaman, with hotels and offices already converting, is conversion now the fastest way into this market?
Conversion is the fastest way. Hotel conversion is the easiest. Residential conversion is also easy, but a lot of clients and investors are looking at office conversion. Hotel conversions can typically take 2 to 6 months. Office conversions will probably take anywhere from 6 months to 18 months, depending on the complexity, the layout, and the land approvals and development approvals that are required.
Shaman, what are some key locations in Hong Kong that you're seeing that is seeing an uptick in hotels and offices as well as other rooms?
For specifically for student accommodation, we're seeing investors look around the Tsim Sha Tsui area with easy access to various universities such as PolyU and Hong Kong Metropolitan University. That also widens to the Hung Hom area as well as the Ho Man Tin area. We are seeing some investors look at East Kowloon as well, and also West Kowloon. And a few investors look on the Hong Kong Island side to service some of the demands for Hong Kong University. Other than that, we are seeing investors also look in Sha Tin and some other areas to really focus on some specific local demand drivers from very certain and specific universities.
I see. So Shaman, could student housing become Hong Kong's next institutional asset class?
Absolutely. Look, it will take time for it to be an institutional asset class. We are seeing at the moment private family offices, private investors, private equity funds, and some state-owned enterprises come into the market. Now, with that, we typically see an exit at some stage. And as hotel or student accommodation platforms develop, we will definitely see more institutional capital come into the market. The likes of pension funds, insurance groups, sovereign wealth funds will then come in really to acquire these assets with a core yield. But at the moment, the investors looking at the market are really looking at it as from a value add perspective. And while pricing is still attractive, that means there's still an opportunity, but that is diminishing quite quickly at the moment as more capital pours into the sector.
Trends-wise, Shaman, what are we expecting for the last few months of the year in terms of the retail and the offices and the hotel sector, I mean?
So we will see an uptick. I think we had a little bit of a lull in May and June in terms of hotel performance, but otherwise the year has been very, very strong. July and August will be strong in terms of performance, and then we'll enter in the busy peak season in September to December. But in terms of acquisitions, there are a number of acquisitions being discussed by investors at the moment for student accommodation conversions, and also for hotel investors looking at pure hotel acquisitions. So we expect transaction activity to continue at the rapid pace that we've seen in the first half so far.
And Shaman, how could this weigh on Hong Kong's economic growth?
Look, we look at the student accommodation sector, it's absolutely brilliant when we see investment coming in. What we'll see is then peripheral investments happen, support services come in, different lines of investment will come in, and there'll be a lot of economic support within that overall student accommodation support. Will we then see the sector develop wider into investment classes such as REITs? That remains to be seen, but we expect the overall economic uplift from this sector to be fairly significant over the years, and very interesting for Hong Kong's education sector moving forward.
Really great insights. It's always a pleasure to talk to you, Shaman. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Absolutely great. Thank you for having me on board today.
Again, that was Shaman Chalaram, Senior Director for Hotel Advisory within Valuation and Advisory Services at Colliers. For more news, visit realestateasia.com.